Abend.
Hello.
Hey, Nadine, Michael, how are you guys?
I'm fine, Angelo, Nadine.
Hope you do. Yes.
June is over.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow is the 1st of July, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was a quick month, a fast month, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What
And
was?
I'm in my record room. Last time you had me somewhere in the middle of Germany, so that wasn't very fair.
Yeah, it was interesting too, because you have been on your tour, on your open air tour, right? But you're still in the middle of it, right?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of it. So just back and forth over the whole summer. I have shows here and there. Yeah.
Beautiful. So far, lucky with the weather here in Germany, right?
Yep. No rain so far. Hope it stays that way, because that kind of sucks if you're doing a show outside and people get all wet and everything. Yeah.
Nadine, how was your June?
Exhausting.
Exhausting.
Exhausting in many ways, but I also went through many record shops, and I forgot how exhausting it is. So, but all in all, a great month. I said, I think in the last time, buying less records. It didn't work.
Didn't work.
It didn't work for me either. I bought, I think, about 50 or 100 records at least. So, yeah.
Big surprise, right?
No.
Yes, absolutely. Shockingly surprising.
Okay, yeah, I think we are loaded. I think this stream may take 3 to 4 hours. We try to keep it way shorter. Nadine, ladies first. Angelo, start with the
What?
With the...
Michael.
Okay. Who wants to start, Angelo or Nadine?
No, let Nadine start. She's,
Okay.
Okay.
Nadine.
Yeah. Let me start. Okay, I bought. You know, I'm into gospel music, and I bought 3 gospel records. And if you see a cover like this on a gospel record, you know for sure that you have to have this gospel record. And
what is the main ingredients of the jacket that makes you say that?
This absolutely gorgeous looking woman looking up into the sky and having the faith in God and singing the view of glory.
So you think she has an epiphany 20 minutes ago and make a photo and now go for it?
Absolutely.
But I thought you were going to say that it's part of a series from a label or something.
That would be great, but it isn't.
Okay.
So the gospel cover art out of this area is a woman looking into the sky. The soul are 3 half-dressed women dancing. Is that safe? No, I'm not kidding. I'm because what I've seen Nadine, it's quite often the case with the soul that there are 3 women.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the gospel thing is 1 woman looking in the sky, Jesus probably.
Well, I have another one.
Hmm?
Another gospel record. So it's not always, you know, they're outside, they're not in the studio, they're not, usually the men are standing there and looking up in the sky on many records, but on the Judgment Day record, this is not the case. And also, if you find a record which has, and you're into 70s music, and it has a cover like this, there's no bad music on it.
There's not, I didn't get there's no bad music. Okay.
No bad music on it.
So, are those 2 new ones you bought, or pickups? Okay.
Where did you get those, Nadine?
I get this one and this one, the Jean Martin one, Songs of Deliverance, which I can only recommend. This is a fantastic record. I got these ones from Marcel, Throwback Vinyl in Düsseldorf.
Of course, in Düsseldorf.
Of course, in Düsseldorf, and they're tremendously good.
Right.
So gospel music, there are some. Next to the fact that these people had tremendously good voices, many of the songs has been sampled for hip hop music.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is highly interesting, and some of these gospel records are tremendously expensive. But if you have a chance, these 3 are very affordable.
Nadine, would you say that the gospel music that came out in the 60s and the 70s, were they high numbers, or were they very unsuccessful mostly, or how was it in comparison to soul and funk?
I think the most successful gospel album is Aretha Franklin's Amazing Grace.
Mm-hmm.
And these, you see, they were bought from people who couldn't go to the church and who wanted their music. So these have been sold quite a lot, but not that they were highly successful. And many of them are on private labels, private pressings, and you could buy them when you were in the church, that
Right.
you have the music of the choir with you. So there are many of them out there. But like I said, they were not highly successful. But these people, they could sing so great, and they had sometimes very tight drums and very talented people up there. So that's why I'm so into gospel music.
Well, even today, the gospel scene has produced so many musicians, like in all the big bands, whether it's Rihanna, Beyonce, whatever. The drummers, almost all of them, they come from the gospel scene.
Yeah.
It's still today very relevant. Yeah.
Yeah. So and all the kids get their education. Most of them, when they were poor, they couldn't go to the music school, so they got their education and their learnings from church.
And they also played for sometimes 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. So the amount of practice is just insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you talk about private press, that also almost always goes hand in hand with very, very small pressings, right? So that means, as a collector nowadays, you either have to get lucky or get really, really deep into it, right? So private press is not easy to get quite often.
It depends on how many survived. Still, a private press which produced 500 and 400 survived, that's still a lot, depending if you're into it or not. So if only 10 survived or 100, then it looks totally different.
Plus, I think it depends on the genre. Like a private press in avant-garde or free jazz or something like that, it was probably just a few hundred. And when they toured, there was nobody in front of the stage, basically, or just a few people. Whereas in gospel, they would probably make a private press because they could only afford every now and then to make another 100, make another 200. And so it could be that in the end it was a 5,000, 10,000 over 3-4 years, because these were bands or these were groups that were playing on a regular basis and selling enough. So I think private press, it doesn't always mean absolute small numbers, you know.
Okay. Interesting. Wow, that was an opener. Gospel. Angelo, your first take.
Well, Nadine, I think I'll go over to some soul and funk, because you've been getting me a little bit more into it. And so I picked this up last week in Berlin. I don't know if you know of it, Nadine.
No, I haven't. I love the cover, but I haven't seen them.
At first, you would think it's more like African music or something, but it's definitely, what was it again? I think I wrote it down here. It's 1976, and this is the repress of 77, and it's quite rare, and most people don't know of it. It was basically these two guys who had this band, and they only had this one album, and then they broke up. But it's quite nice. It's more of a soul funk with a bit of a jazz African touch in a way. So yeah, I've been listening to that a few times now, and it's pretty nice. But anyway, what I wanted to say, Nadine, is ever since, let's say, a few months in watching a lot of your videos, I'm keeping more an eye open for soul and funk. And I used to always buy some, but a little more intense. So
very good.
Get it. Yeah. Not bad or good. Yeah,
thank you for the compliment.
For sure.
Okay. Yeah. My first take. Let's start with a sad event. In June, one of the key figures of German free jazz died. At the end, a couple of days ago. Peter Brötzmann. And of course, this is a coincidence in a way. In June, I got Peter Brötzmann records. And I got first pressing of The Machine Gun, which in my opinion is the most consequent German free jazz record, or one of the most consequent. And this is, wow, it's not only the title, Machine Gun, the record is a machine gun. Try listen to it, or the Peter Brötzmann for Adolf Sax, an amazing free jazz record. Those two records came out on his own label, the Brö label. This is Brö 1, and the Machine Gun is Brö 2. So those are, of course, two amazing achievements in my collection. So happy to have them now. And I got a third one, which came out more or less recently. And this is a beautiful box set with Peter Brötzmann and KG Heino on the black label. So beautiful box set with beautiful inners, and they really did an amazing job. It's a 4 LP set of these two amazing artists. And yeah, rest in peace, Peter Brötzmann. Huge loss, in my opinion. So now I'm, of course, desperately trying to get my the two other Brötzmanns. I want to have the Nipples and Balls before they explode in price. That's the titles. Before they explode in price. Because
Michael,
Michael,
can you not mention explode after saying what you just said before that?
Yeah, that's what's in my head. I have to say what's in my head. I get it. But I think that the Brötzmanns are amazing records and very, very important, and in Germany quite underestimated artists, and in my opinion it's quite worth your time getting a bit more into it. But of course you have to be open for this kind of jazz. Although I have to say, in my opinion, those records are not like those, sometimes when it comes to free jazz, it's like an exorcism. It's totally out there, and for me as a non-musician, at least, it's very, very, very difficult to find the structure and the idea. I don't have that problem so far with Brötzmann. I think that I find the structure, I find the idea, and I see the fun in it, which is not always the case for me when it comes to those free jazz records.
Yeah, I've always wanted to actually, check him out and get into it. And in a way, I feel like I should have done it a little earlier, because probably now all of his OGs have gone up. But I will still get to it at some point. It's just, I knew he was one of those artists that if I started listening to some of his records, I'd probably go all the way in and try to collect all his records. So sometimes I keep myself away extra.
Yeah, get that. Okay, that was the first take. Is there a second take, Nadine?
Yes, of course. I was so happy when you announced a title which was going to come into your shop, because this record was on my want list for a long time, was hardly available in Europe, and if it was available, it was at least a €200 record. So I was over the moon, and of course I also had to have the 45 version. So this is
you got them. Yeah, that was a big score for the shop. I agree. I never would have thought that we could get those exclusively here for Europe. And so, yeah, that was amazing. And those are unbelievable titles. I agree. Audiophile highlights, right? And musical highlights.
Yes, absolutely stunning. And this was dead quiet. It was absolutely enjoyable. And I can only recommend everybody to get, if you don't want to get the 45, which is with the highlight, try to get the 33, the whole album. It's unbelievable. And I don't think that will be soon.
I have the 45 single that you have in the hands. I have that one.
Wow.
It's on its way coming, but it's not here yet. So because that one's supposed to be like that little extra. Have you compared both of them, Nadine?
Yes, and the 45 sounds, of course, better, but it's, the thing is with 45s, I'm not such a big fan of 45s because I'm lazy. And usually you have like 2 songs on one side. Oh, yeah, I know. It's across the room. So it's, and that's why I'm not so much in. It sounds better. Of course, it sounds better. But in many ways, it sounds better, or many cases. But I'm lazy. So I'm like having 4 or 5 songs on each side. So yeah, it's not great.
The idea of this 45, the idea of this, especially this 45, is you get someone, and I have that quite sometimes. You get a visitor and said, "What is it? Are those records? Do they still do this?" I say, "Yeah, sometimes they do this." And then you get more honest and talk about, and okay, let me hear. And then you take out this 45, put on one song, because he doesn't want to listen to records, just to get an idea what vinyl can mean, what vinyl can be. And then this 45 is a perfect record to just put it out, sit down, listen to one song, and then he understands why you're still into vinyl.
That's the reason why I ordered it, because I heard a lot of good things about the record on its own, the way it's mastered, but that the 45 has that extra notch, and it's beautiful to have some records sometimes just to pull out for pure enjoyment of how sound can really, how far it can go. So
yes, exactly.
Exactly.
I don't think that there will be repressed soon. I think that was
no, there won't be. No, not possible. They won't.
So
They won't. Yeah.
get them by.
That was a one-time opportunity, and I took it. And yeah, as you said, they have been for 200, 250 euros on Discord here in Europe, at least.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, while we're on the subject, I also not just ordered the 45. I also ordered the Michael, help me out. Starker, is that the name?
The Bach box set, yeah.
Yes.
Finally back. Yeah.
I had an eye on that one for a couple of years, but the Discogs prices on those were always quite high, and so I was hoping that Chad would repress those, because I wanted the box version with the six LPs in it, because that seems to be the best version, at least available somewhat, and
in this case for sure. Yeah.
And the fact that he repressed it, and you actually have the store now in Europe, which makes it a bit cheaper with all the customs and all that other stuff, is just fantastic. So I got that one coming. It'll be here next week, so I can't include it really here, but I'll go for something of a reissue, basically. Something that is new, and that is that's this one here that actually came out last year, but I picked it up in Berlin in the store, Soul Trade, and this is by Kraft, mastered and cut by Kevin Gray. And the reason why I got this was I've been for a few weeks looking to get this one as an OG, and I've found somebody that I know, that I trust, that has one in VG Plus, and I saw pictures and everything. But I picked this one up just to give it a listen, and just to also spend some time with the album to make a decision whether I'll buy the OG. And well, I just heard it a few times, and this is great. But I pulled the trigger on the OG, and it's going to be coming in about a week from now. So
that's exciting.
And that's Sun Ra's second album. It's definitely iconic, and I'm happy to get an OG in good state and for a very fair price from someone I can trust. And that's with expensive grails. You always have to make a decision according to how much risk is involved. And if there's too much risk, then just don't do it. Just take your time, because you don't want to be spending a top dollar and then something goes wrong. Just don't do it. But so in this case, I got the reissue, not to compare to the OG. I got it as a kind of a practice to see, do I really like this album? And I do. And so there you go.
You do like it? Okay, cool. Yeah, because funny, I got my grail in the way of the month, because this is an original. Also Sun Ra, Jazz by Sun Ra. And yeah, now that we're at it, at Sunrap, tomorrow evening at the same time, I will do again a live stream, again a very, very special live stream. Günther will be my guest, aka Minty Vinyl, and he talks about Sunra, and he shows some of his jams of Sunra. Some of them only exist one time. It's some with Sunra. It's so complex, so interesting, and yeah, he's into Sunra. He collects Sunra for several decades now, which made it possible that he has those unbelievable one-time collector's items from Sunra. He will explain the idea behind Sunra, how to approach Sunra, what makes Sunra so special to him, because I think Sunra is quite a complex figure and deserves and needs some explanations if you are not a very well-known musician or something like that. And I can imagine that tomorrow evening will be quite special. And yeah, I have my Sunra original too. Funny side note though, you know, I have my stickers with the flag and the first pressing or second pressing. This one is first pressing Sweden. And now I have to get my hands on a Swedish flag sticker.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Maybe Stunty can paint one for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Sunlight, you know, the painting part.
Yeah.
Well, I have like about
exactly, Thomas. It's Swedish, right? It's a Swedish one. So now I need Swedish flag stickers for my collection.
Very good. I have about 15 or 20 Sunras. Some of them are pretty basic, but there's like one that Disco 3000 hand painted. And there, when you try to find it on Discogs, then basically there's you're not going to find the one that you have.
Exactly.
Each one is painted individually. So you kind of you select one that is similar, and then you write in your notes the condition, but you write also how it looks like, and you have one unique copy.
Have the one. Or what you also do, Angelo, is make an entry. Make an entry of your Sunrise.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, from the Matrix, it's the same as some others there, but the cover is an individual painting. So basically, there I think not just the condition determines the price later on if you do sell it. What also determines the price is the desirability of how nice the painting is. So it's very interesting again. Yeah.
This is absolutely fascinating, and really looking forward to that stream tomorrow, because how many of these hand-painted covers existed for one record? Is there the same theme? Is it totally different? Is it? I have absolutely no clue.
So what I've learned so far, and that's what all the stream tomorrow will be about, is that Günther explains this thing. So what I've learned so far is they had a tour, and then they said, "Oh, let's paint some jackets for tonight's con." Yeah, beautiful example.
So that's a pretty well-known record, you know, and this would be the one that they were selling on tour and a private press, I guess you'd call it. And you will find some that have this label, but you will find some that have a different color. But then definitely the painting on here, the coloring, I'm saying in that case, is each one completely unique.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
So.
And then you also have sometimes paintings on the label, on the record, or sometimes the.
Yeah, and sometimes the painting is a little less intense. Here it's basically this part here, this part, you know, that part is, I think, painted on by hand, and this is sticked on, so that's probably everywhere the same. But I'm totally in the beginning of Sunra. I have no clue whatsoever. This is also somewhat painted individually, you know.
Right.
Just
amazing.
Slight.
Angelo.
No.
Tomorrow.
That was just a little warm up for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Good guy's gonna he's gonna knock it out of the park. I have to see that.
Probably. Probably. Yeah, that will be quite special. It's not an easy topic, of course,
No.
It's not a topic like Pink Floyd or the Beatles, but it might be interesting for those who want to dig a little bit deeper. Okay, I think Nadine is.
Yeah, and I've read that
he
made some covers from shower curtain from a hotel.
What?
Wow.
I want to have that. Again, Thomas Bask, what is one of those guys who knows everything about vinyl.
So wait a minute. Was Sandra the first to really seal the records like in proper like what is it, vinyl solution storage? Sandra,
solution. First vinyl storage solution.
There you go.
Yeah.
Michael, you got to do that now too. You have to take shower curtains.
I have to. That's a nice idea. Okay.
All right. So my next record comes straight out of the 70s with Faith, Hope, and Charity. This was a group who did many records in the 70s. I think this is their last one, and in my opinion, their best one. That's a typical disco record from the beginning to the end. I love it very much. I really, and it's so 70s. I mean, this could easily be a Bonnie M cover. It's.
I was going to say it, but Nadine, you did it. Okay, I didn't want to bring it up.
No, I have no problem with Bonnie M. They did some great music.
Who did the singing? Frank Fabian, or did other people sing?
Fabian did. Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And also the women sang originally, but the guy who danced, he wasn't singing.
Yes, but so, like the part, "You're crazy like a fool."
Like a fool. That was Fabian.
That's
exactly.
Frank Fabian. It's so fun. Yeah. I met the guy a few times, and you would never connect, this coolness and that disco music with the guy himself. Just
absolutely not. But he has the vibe, He was deep water. So, like
Nadine, I'm serious. What I've heard is that Frank Farian also did the woman voices. I'm not kidding here.
What?
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
You mean he did like Kopfstimme, you say in German, the falsett, like he did like this like the Bee Gee kind of voice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's what I've heard. It might.
That's not a woman's voice. Maybe in choirs, maybe the high notes, some things. But
see, Daddy Cool was one of my first singles.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Faith, $5 and tremendously good.
So
close out of that album. Yes, sure.
Yes. Where did you get it, Nadine?
I got it on. I got it when I was visiting my record store around in Cologne, and he had it in the dollar bin. And I was looking for it actually for a long time. And usually you won't find this in Germany too often. Mm-hmm. And I got it, and it's tremendously good.
So Nadine, what's your record store in Cologne? I need to know that.
I have quite a few. I'll let you know.
Are you keeping it a secret, huh? Look at that. What is wrong with you guys? You and Stunt always keeping secrets and stuff.
No, that's not true. Nadine has too many. It would just be too much for the stream.
Oh, is it about politics? You don't want the store owners to think that you like a different store better? Is that what it is?
Maybe yes.
Maybe yes.
I have no clue why you all keep the records out of the jackets. With your huge shelves, you'll never risk ringwear. Does that make sense?
For me, it's easier actually to have, depending on the inner sleeve, you are really, and you have this stirred cardboard, and you're like, I can't get it in, and it's really, it annoys me to no end. I want easy access to my record, slip it out, and done. That's for me the main reason.
Stunty has this record too, Nadine.
Yes, it's a great disco record, and it's very cheap.
Special greetings from Lena Englund to Angelo. Nadine and me got ignored for what reason ever.
But Michael, on that note, I also have all my records in outer sleeves, plastic sleeves, whatever we call them. But it's like Nadine says, it goes faster because you don't have to fool it in and fool it out the whole thing, and I feel it's a better protection. But for the stream purpose, I took them all out so that I can show them. Yeah.
Angelo, I think it's
Oh,
your turn.
my next. Okay, sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
No problem.
So I thought maybe it was also good to show a newer release, I guess, not a really old record and not a reissue. So I'm trying to get a bit into this English jazz scene, which is, I guess they don't. It's not just jazz. It's a lot of Afrobeat. There's a lot of reggae influences, also some Latin influences, but it's really an interesting scene going on there. And yeah, I picked this one up. This is Ezra Collective. This is their second record. This came out last year, but I just picked it up this month, and it's fantastic. It's really, really good. I can definitely recommend checking it out. And
jacket. I love the jacket.
Yeah, the jacket is amazing. It's got also the vinyl itself. I mean, they're not anti-static, but the vinyl is really well done, and it has also a nice thick booklet, and the price is, I think, under 30 euros for a new title that has all that. It's pretty crazy, actually. So definitely give it a listen. It's really nice. It's brilliant. And
can you say the name again, please?
So Ezra Collective, and the album is Where I'm Meant to Be. And how I got into this was Valentin, the record store owner. He's been telling me about this scene in England that is thriving, and it's definitely seen as a jazz scene, but there's a lot of raggy dub and Afrobeat, like Tony Allen influences and stuff. But it's a whole new generation between 20 and 30, 40 years old, and these guys are just the piano player. This guy is incredible, just really insane. So yeah, I have no clue about that scene yet. I'm getting into it. I only have a few records, but I'm trying to find out. So there you go.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Nice one. Another new one, Angelo, or was that it?
Well, if yeah, I guess this one's kind of new, for me at least, and this came out, as far as I know, 2021 or 2020, not exactly sure. And this is basically because I had this already. This is a 2017 release, and I bought this about a half a year ago. This is a band called Les Filles de Elgadad. I can't even say it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
They're a band from West Africa, from a small village, and basically this lady, she plays the electric guitar, and if I had to describe it, it's basically like listening to traditional music from that town and kind of tribal music, and somebody just dropped electric guitar there with an amp, and she started playing it, and the mixture of both is just fantastic. So this album really got me a half a year ago, and they have 3 albums, and so I just picked this one up this month, and it's fantastic as well. So I'm still missing the other 3rd album. So if anybody's open to some world music or some music from Nigeria and West Africa, this is worth checking out for sure. And they always go back to the village, and they help the whole families, and they bring money in there and build up the town and stuff. And then they go on tour every now and then. So they kind of live in both worlds, which is fascinating.
Yeah, can imagine. Nice ones. Yeah, okay. Then I go now also into new releases. I don't have many new records as I see right now, but I have 2, and both of them are VC related. First one I have here is the new Balmorea. Came out on Deutsche Grammophon, and probably quite some of you remember Michael Mueller. We did the 4 Corners with. He was on my channel, and this is with his band Balmorea, his new beautiful neoclassical ambient take on Pendant World. Beautiful, really, really beautiful.
That's not one of the original Source series. That's an actual new title that
That's
came out.
an actual new album on Deutsche Grammophon. You know that they go this way a little bit with some new artists when they think they are able to be on Deutsche Grammophon. And this is his second release with Balmorea on Deutsche Grammophon. Beautiful album. Beautiful album.
Cover art is stunning, Michael. Is this a spider web? It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Wow.
It might even be, I haven't talked to him about it. It might be that this is a photo from Michael because he's also very much into photography.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is from him, but
you might find it in the credits. It might say it inside there.
Yeah, I have to look that up.
You have to
the second one. Yeah. The second one is also VC and even OVC related.
Oh yeah, I got that one too, but it's in Germany.
Okay. The Black Sky. What an amazing psych crowd rock album! Wow,
great,
beautiful gatefold jacket. Luckily, I got the blue vinyl. Wow, this is just wow.
Yeah, I listened to it on Spotify.
Yeah,
and because I was chatting away with what's his name again? He plays the bass on it. Jens, exactly. And so he would tell me about it, and then I listened to the whole album on Spotify, and then I found it somewhere online. I ordered it.
This is the artist Jens, the Black Paint. Amazing album, beautiful.
But I have it, but I don't have it in Germany. So it's gonna in Ireland. So,
Ireland. Yeah. I'm sure you will like it. The title of the album, I have to read it in my age: "The Empty Space Between a Seamount and a Shock-Headed Julia."
Wow, I need to check that album out.
If do that.
I need to check that out. But luckily, it's sold out and not available, and I need to pay with an arm.
I think, Jens, if I'm wrong, correct me. I think it's sold out or almost sold out, but there will be a second press, if I'm not totally mistaken.
You have to look at some of the different shops out there. Some have it and some don't have it. So that's very often the case. If you look on Amazon and it's sold out, or on GPC or something like that, you think, okay, that's it. But if you Google it, you might find another shop that has 2, 3 left. So
here's again the title: "The Empty Space Between a Seamount and Shock-Headed Julia."
Right. Or Jens, if you have a spare copy left, let me know.
But really, those two albums, amazing stuff, and we can be very, very proud here in the BC that we are connected and so close to those artists. Same, of course, goes for Angelo Kelly. This gives us a different and very, very interesting and important perspective, and this is also a reason why I love to come back to this, because what we usually do know are the technical aspects of it through people like Kevin Gray and Chet Kasem, but now having some artists with us, this is amazingly interesting.
But the common the thing that combines us is that we have a love for music, and when you have a big love for music, I think you get into vinyl pretty easily, pretty quick. And so that's the bridge between all these, people that are in distribution, people that are in just listening to music, people that are musicians themselves, or engineers, or and that's beautiful, actually.
Totally, absolutely beautiful, true.
The crystal clear inner sleeves, Michael, are they already available?
Yes, they are since this week.
Wow.
They are. Finally, it took them 2 years to get them back.
Those are the ones that they're anti-static, you said, right? Because it's
they are anti-static. When I talked to the founder and inventor of Vinyl Storage Solution, I asked him, but is this material also anti-static? And then he explained, I didn't know that by then, No, he said it's not the material. Anti-static is a residue, and you just put this residue inside the material, and then it's anti-static. And yeah, for the colored vinyl or for some originals, you immediately can see the shape of a record through it, and that's I love it. I love it. So I will pile up for me those sleeves.
Me too, I think.
Will they constantly be available, or is this a limited stock? Do you know anything about that?
I don't know how constantly, because the last time
Are they numbered?
Are they available in different colors?
Good idea.
Exactly.
Vinyl inner sleeve?
Analog numbered.
That would be the new scheme, God, oh God. Number two. Yeah.
This box needs a new section for the inner sleeves.
Exactly. I saw my
Thank you.
inner sleeve. No,
There's-
but yeah, go.
No. I was thinking there's probably somebody who collects all the different sleeves.
Next to his beer decal collection, yeah.
There must be somebody out there who does that.
I'm sure.
Probably there are. Let's get serious here. Come on.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
My turn, right?
Next
Yes.
round.
Okay, here we have Soul Vibration.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning cover by Davy Baby Cortez that was done in the early 70s, and it's a very funky record. Also not very expensive to get, and you get some nice breaks on this very soulful, funky record. Once again, not expensive, and I love when the covers have this color variations and some action, and not just three women standing up there and looking in the sky, or three men looking up in the sky. So this was
This
cover is
looks seriously good. This looks like a record in a serious good condition from my point of view when I watch it here. Is it a good one? Yeah, it looks like. Huh?
yeah, of course.
Good.
You don't put it too close. No, it has some tape repairs up there, some scuffed corners, but honestly, as long as the vinyl is okay, and this is not super rare, it works for me. It plays well.
That actually is a good segue for me, because I had a record on my want list for at least 3, 4, 5 years, I don't know, and that's the very first title of ECM. So that's Mal Waldron, Free at Last. This is 1970, and I collect ECM records. I'm never gonna have them complete, because they just they release too many
records. Probably 1,000 records.
I have about 50, maybe 60, something like that, and most of them are quite cheap, in good condition. So that's still an amazing way of collecting a label, if you want. But the very first title of ECM is, of course, epic, and not just that. Mal Waldron is just one of my favorite jazz pianists, and he's got such a dark tone, an amazing emotional way of playing. And it's interesting also that the first ECM title had different artwork. I think they were still trying things out. This one's a gatefold, and it has these kind of a flaps so that the record would come in here. And I think that's why most of them are pretty banged up. The record is pretty much VG plus or near mint, but this one is not as great. It's more like a VG or
but come on, you found an amazing copy. This is not easy to find in a good condition.
Yeah, and so where I was going to is that I decided to get this one, as the record itself was in great condition, and the cover was good enough for me to be happy. So I think what Nadine was just saying is that if you have to decide, then it's definitely mostly it's the record, unless it's an iconic cover and you're buying the album more because of the cover. That happens sometimes. But so this was on my want list for a number of years, and I'm happy to finally have it. And
you found it in Germany, or where did you find it?
Yes, I actually got it from Günther. I actually got it over Minty Vinyl. Yeah. So
you're kidding me.
Yes.
I asked him for that record, and he said, "No, I don't have it."
Well, you know, you got to be.
I'm not so sure that tomorrow's stream is going to happen.
Or maybe Günther is calling Angelo and saying, "Oh, I need that record back. It was a mistake. It was already for somebody else."
Maybe Michael, maybe he likes me more than you, you know.
This is very likely. Who doesn't, by the way, Angelo?
Anyway, so really happy about this. Very stoked, basically. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go on with your take, Angelo. Not so important and so special like the very first one as an OG, but I got my second batch of the Luminescence series. I will do the video about those two, and two giants in the old ECM catalog. The Old and New Dreams with Don Cherry, unbelievable album. And the second one, Gary Burton, the New Quartet. In this Luminescence series, they really do it beautifully. Great take on those. I will do a video about it. I will get into them because I have the originals. I have now the reissues. And this
what's your general feeling of the different approach? What is there a style difference that you can, after 4 releases and 4 OGs, is there a general like different aesthetic?
There certainly is, and that was important that they do this because, as you said, the original ECM records are relatively easy to get for a very good price in a perfect condition.
Most of them. There are exceptions.
No, there are exceptions, of course, Angelo. When you have thousands, yeah, of course, but in general. And they had to do another approach, and they did. They did. I did my video about the first batch. I talked about it. This time, it's again a little different, but again, they add a very interesting aspect to it. And I think that was by choice. And of course, what they did is they gave them wonderful jackets, beautiful packaging.
And the pictures inside. I mean,
that's, and lots of information. And so they really do the magnitude of those albums justice.
Okay.
And that's what we can expect them to do. And if they do it, all good.
Have you heard anything about the numbers?
And it's all analog. It's all analog.
Yeah. But do you know anything about the numbers? Are there any rough? Are they? Is it 1,000?
They are very secretive about this. But when I see the views on the first video, there is quite an audience out there. This was one of my most viewed videos of the last month. So the people are very, very interested in the ECM releases.
Yeah, I mean, ECM records, like 5 years ago, I was able to get great condition for under 10 euros. Now you're talking 20 euros, and for some, 30 euros. So, I mean, great condition near mint, you know. So there is some movement, but they're still dirt cheap because that's two of them will be a tone poet, you know. So it's like,
and the importance of those ECM recordings in the 70s and 80s, you can't rate them high enough in some cases. It's unbelievable important music. Yeah. This was huge in its time. Nadine, what's your take on ECM? Ever digged into it, or just not your?
What are you drinking there, Nadine? What is that?
Officially, it's tea.
It's a gin tonic.
Gin tea.
It's a gin tonic.
Nadine, actually, my Battle Cat cup, you know, if you are a child of the 80s, this is a tiki cup with Battle Cat from He-Man.
Oh, wow. Is it an original? Yeah, probably, right?
No, these were made a couple of years ago. You cannot get them from any TV series, but I needed to have the Battle Cat tiki cup for my tea.
Okay, Nadine, before you are completely drunk, I suggest we are going to the next.
Take some time. All right. next one, we were at ECM. I like the early ones, but like Angelo said, they are very difficult to get.
Sometimes.
All right, I also got this from Marcel. This is if you are into electro music from the late 70s.
We listened to this, right?
Yes, yes.
I remember. This is amazing.
Yep. And I got this for $10. And the funny thing is, I was checking it on Discogs, and there were so many versions of this. But if you have the writing with red writing on the label, it's at least €50 record.
Okay.
That was a bargain, and it's mint. It's never been played, except for us. And if you are into electric, into the late 70s, he worked with the likes of Sylvester to create that sound, like the Donna Summer sound. Unfortunately, he passed away from AIDS in the early 80s, 81, 82. But this is Patrick Colley. If you're into electronic, this is a way to go.
That was so interesting what you told me about this record, and when we listen to it, for me, this also could have been from Erasure.
Exactly.
Or
and that
Yazoo.
was 77, 78.
Unbelievable. Or
Is this
very
US
early
or UK? What is this then?
This is the US version, I think. It's US, yes.
Okay.
So
very interesting, Angelo. Yeah. Very interesting record.
And
I didn't know him.
Yeah, and also what's interesting is there's not too many recordings from Patrick Colley, but what he did was he made soundtracks for gay movies. And someone went to the producer and said, "Do you still have the tapes for the movies?" And I said, "Yes." And these are also kind of electronic, ambient kind of stuff. And he is going to, or coming up, re-releasing that music, and that's just fantastic. So Patrick Colley.
I was so surprised. This is a killer record. I highly recommend it.
Well, what's interesting about the early electronic music is that it's still all analog. So you have all these synthesizers, all these modulars, you have all these sounds happening, but still on an analog basis. And it's only in the 80s that digital starts playing a big factor in that area. So that's kind of for me where I say I love the late 70s electronic music, because it still has a very organic feel to it, a very warm sound, and so that's I gotta check that one out.
Do so. Interesting. Angelico.
Me again. Okay. Well, so I don't know if you guys know this album, right? This is John Martin, I guess you say. John Martin, just with the Y. And this album was 1996. Funny thing about this one is actually Phil Collins plays the drums and does some backing vocals on it. And it's just a great 90s sounding album with it's very poppy, very kind of early programming loops and stuff like that, but it also has his kind of soul and really interesting voice. So I really fell in love with this record the last year or so, and I had a good condition. This is like a VG plus. But last week I was in a store and I saw it again. And this one's a near mint. So what did I do? I bought it again.
Of course.
And the record is also perfect condition, like archival. And so that's what happens if you're a fucking record collector, so there you go.
And that's what's happened when you don't wait until you find a near mint one.
The other one most people would call near mint. It's just I saw this one, I was like, holy shit. And it's a great record. So I'm happy to have two of them. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. This is a grail for me. And I bought it, the original. You know White House, Nadine, Angelo?
Yes.
No, I don't.
I got this original. Yeah. It's not easy, of course. This is electronic noise, hard stuff, but great stuff. Happy to have this one, but then again, Vinyl on Demand put out another box set, and this gets together quite well. They put out two 10-disc box set von Sutcliffe Jugend. This is box number 1 in a beautiful wooden case, and box number 2, again, 10 albums.
And they go together. You buy them together, basically.
They came out together like they did with their unbelievable Quartz Militant box set. So these two came together this month. And why do I show those together? Why do I show the White House and the Sutcliffe Jugend? Because Sutcliffe Jugend are guys from White House. So again, that means I have here 20 noise electronic records with beautiful t-shirts, of course.
Okay.
T-shirt number 1, t-shirt number 2, and there are booklets inside. I will do a video about those. I just want to show them right now, because this is, of course, a highlight again in June. I can imagine another label that has the balls to put out 2 box sets of noise, electronic noise, and trust me, this is heavy stuff. 2 box.
It's a stupid question, but if people are interested in Vinyl on Demand, is that all over their homepage? You buy it direct from them, or how does it work?
Buy it direct to support the label.
Okay.
Sometimes he sells those who he didn't sell by himself. He sells those to Sound Ohm. But I think what this one-man show does is worth supporting, and so order over at Vinyl on Demand. Just Google Vinyl on Demand, and then you are at his shop. What he has put out over the last, I think, 2 decades or almost 2 decades is
it all in the same genre, or is there
no? You have noise stuff like this. He has put out an amazing Muslim Ghost box set, Clock DVA, SPK, then Quartz Militant, Current 93, Soviet France, the unbelievable Com Organization box set, Necrophile. He has over 100 box sets, Angelo.
Wow.
He has over 100 of those box sets.
Are they all in wooden, or is there all in wood? Is this the same?
He has a Leibach box set put out in leather. Then very different. He's very creative when it comes to those box sets. Really, really, really worth mentioning. Look at it. Just also, if you are not into the music, look at his website. Look up this box sets. It's quite often really amazing.
It seems to be very pushing the boundaries of what a label does, basically.
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes really with hardbound. Here you have also books, but paper back, but sometimes hardbound books comes with those box set. The book alone is unbelievable.
Yeah.
He is totally crazy in the best sense. Totally, you have to be totally crazy to get so deep into this, but in a good sense, of course.
Have you thought about doing a stream with him, maybe?
Yeah, of course, but he does even more. For example, that I could do the video together with Stunt for Confusion, with Stunty, with David Toop. That was his initiative, and of course, that's David Toop is way more interesting than me. I don't totally agree, but I hope someday. Yeah.
Great. That's nice. Super.
Right. Nadine. Also some Pierre Henry box sets. Right. Yeah. Also amazing. Also John Bender. Sorry.
Are there any interesting box sets in soul and funk, or not much in that area, huh?
No, not really. What I've missed on Vinyl Me Please, there was a box set about Philadelphia International.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They did some great stuff. I was really thinking about getting it, but on the other hand, all the albums in the box set, I was having them, and they sounded good to me. And the only difference was the box. They do tremendously good box sets, but the colors. And now I'm regretting it a little bit. But anyway, box sets are from 70s totally difficult.
Vinyl Please Gospel box set is on its way to me. In your case too?
No, I didn't get a message, and I think I was number 2 ordering it.
Okay, mine is on its way, so yours probably too.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well,
Nadine, after I did the heavy lifting, you have
I do now the very light lifting.
Okay.
So Smooth as Silk.
Oh, look at that.
Michael.
I show it a little closer so you can have a better impression.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, maybe the back is more interesting. I checked that for you. Oh no, it's plain. Oh, sorry, that's a disappointment.
It is.
Yeah, Smooth as Silk, tremendously good soul record. Yes, the price sticker was $5.99, and that's actually the price I paid for it. On Prelude, tremendously good soul album, very cheap. So I can only recommend that you get this if you like a little. It's more up-tempo soul, so that's absolutely to go. And if not, just buy it because of the cover.
Yeah, makes sense.
Absolutely.
Makes sense. So that's it for your run?
How big, Nadine, how big is your want list? Do you have like a running want list to keep a track on what you're looking for?
3,000 records.
Okay.
On my want list.
Okay. I'm over 1,000, and I feel that that's a bit crazy, but I think the bigger the want list, actually, the better, because you sometimes stumble upon something and you can check right away if you're actually looking for it. You know?
Yeah, but I have my want list on Discogs, and it's a pain in the ass. I tell you that.
But do you only buy records from a want list? No.
No. I buy sometimes when I'm in a record store and I'm flipping through and I like a cover. I buy by cover.
Yep.
That's how I do it. So,
do
and if there are 3 women looking up in the skies, then I buy it.
Okay. So I have a bit of a weakness for test pressings. And I think by now I have maybe 50 or 70, somewhere around there,
Nice.
test pressings, and even some singles. And then I also collect some hip hop, some rap, especially like 90s, early 2000s. So I came across this one here. This is Gong Star. Basically, this is like 92 hip hop. Guru from Guru's Jazzmatazz, he was involved, and you hear it because it has a lot of jazz elements. It has that kind of vibe that was going on in the 90s. Somebody like Nas was doing that kind of stuff as well. Somehow, beginning end of 2000s, that kind of died off. But for a while there, for about 10 years, there was a lot of jazz and hip hop melting together, and I like that part. Yeah, I listened to it ahead of time before I bought it, but this is the test pressing for Europe, and there was one test pressing that somebody has, I guess, for US, and so that's coming in my collection as as I widen and broaden my test pressing area.
you run through it by accident?
Basically, when I'm looking for something on Discogs, so these records I bought in shops, some I bought directly from people that I know, some I bought over Discogs. And having a big want list means that sometimes I find one record from somebody who's selling it in good condition, good price, and then they might have 1 or 2 others that are in my want list. But then I also look through what else they have. And there I kind of stumble over things, records I never heard of, start listening to them. And that was one of those kind of rabbit holes I went, at nighttime, spending 2 hours listening to all kinds of stuff that the guy had. And I saw this test pressing already. It was like, oh, and then I listened to it, and I liked the record right away. So there you go. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Oh, you have another one, or shall I do?
No, I have more. I just don't know how many rounds you want to do. So
okay. Let's. I have 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
If necessary, 4 more rounds. But we are already. So I put stuff together. Let's do another 2 rounds. Okay. And
2
then
rounds. I'll put stuff together too. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay. Now I make myself big now because this is now a showcase of unbelievable, beautiful jackets. I promise you. Those are records, original first pressings I got for the OBC shop or for my collection. And I just beautiful jackets. Look at this one. Witthüser and Westrup. Der Jesuspilz. Totally crazy crowd music in a beautiful, beautiful gatefold jacket on the Pilz label. They sing in German. And they mostly sing about a Brösel. I don't know the English term for Brösel.
What is that in English?
Is it a breadcrumb?
No, it's not a breadcrumb. It has something to do with hashish.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now it really gets beautiful. Thrice Mice. Look at this jacket.
Yeah, I listened to that record yesterday on YouTube.
Amazing, huh?
Amazing album.
It's
An amazing
unbelievable.
album.
It's unbelievable.
Wow.
And this record, killer condition on the Philips label, but the jacket alone, huh? Damn. Another unbelievable, beautiful jacket and fantastic album is this one, the Annexus Quam. What is here? This one. You know, these triangles are loose. You can open all of those up, and I love this. And the music, listen to this too, Angelo. This is total stunner of a quite rare krautrock album on the Ohr label.
But I would say most of those are probably completely destroyed because opening those I mean that's so sensitive that doesn't last.
Getting this one, I mean, we're talking a record that is over 50 years old. Getting this one in this condition is once in a lifetime. Is you never know. But this is quite special.
Yeah, incredible.
And the last one, and again the jacket, but also the music. This is a record. Really try this one out. There is a recent repress because the original is quite difficult to get. Harmonia with Michael Rother from Neu and Möbius and Rodelius from Cluster. This record is just wow. This is a killer record. And also, again, I'm quite happy to have it in this condition. And again, the jacket, I mean, hey, come on. Angelo, what do you think? Nadine, what do you think?
I love the 70s krautrock, psych rock album covers. They're so innovative. And this is a piece of art. You can put this in a frame on the wall.
Imagine how good those jackets aged.
Yeah.
They doesn't look stupid at all, in my opinion. Not at all.
No, that Thrice Mice or whatever it's called, that's incredible. Really great album. And when you open it up, the figure is complete. Yeah,
I have it in the sleeve now. I'm careful with it because it's sold. Yeah, this is quite. Yeah, that was quite something. And all in June, so I stick to the month June. As you can see, I'm quite happy with my June results so far. Nadine.
Wow. Michael, you are. I've seen your video yesterday, and that Mali record in that condition, that was.
I mean, this one.
Yes, I've never ever seen such a clean copy. They're usually totally destroyed. There's just a piece of paper left, and you have like a near mint.
This is silk screen. This is not. This is
unbelievable.
What you know? I showed it to Angelo, and you know what his reaction was to me?
No.
You asshole.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Michael, I don't know how much you're into Raggy.
I am. This is for the OBC shop.
Okay.
This was stunning.
Yeah.
All right. early 80s disco record, Bobby Thruston, the main attraction.
That cover.
Yeah.
That man knows to handle women.
Yes.
Oh, Michael.
So let's go.
It's-
This is the back. Also not so expensive. You can see it's a little torn up. This is a little more difficult to find, but still also a fantastic early 80s disco record. So what else did I get? I need more space.
How can I make is this Barry White direction, the heavy guy with a deep voice, or how is it?
No, not really. It's a kind of you have to remember early 80s, so disco was slowly dying. So it's like a pop kind of record, but with elements from the late 70s.
Okay.
So Bobby Thruston. Next one, Elvis. This is actually a bootleg coming out on vinyl. This is a concert from November 1970. I mean, look at that cover.
Yeah, the king.
Yeah, the king. So
Nadine, can I ask you, what record should somebody start their journey with Elvis with? Because there's so many releases, it's in a way difficult. Is there the kind of blue for Elvis, and is there one pressing that you say that's a no-brainer?
Elvis from Elvis in Memphis,
Okay.
back in Memphis, and That's the Way It Is, I think, are one of those.
And all of them US OGs, you would say.
You can get them in, I wouldn't say OGs. If you're asking to somebody who wants to get into Elvis, I would recommend these 2-3 albums to get into in whatever country you want. They're widely available.
Today I talked with somebody from the United States, and he said, we talked a bit about Elvis, and he said what also an amazing Elvis record is Elvis 56, because it came out later, I think very early 80s, but it was a take. Elvis met with some musicians in a studio to jam, and they just keep the microphones open and recorded that. Do you know this record, Elvis 56?
I don't know the record Elvis 56, but what you could be talking about is the $1 Million Quartet. This is Jerry Lee, not Jerry. This is Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis Presley, and two other Carl Perkins, I think, and some other guy who were in Sun Studios. Elvis visited the Sun Studios where he made his first recordings, and there was the mic running, and they were just jamming around. And so this was. Oh, come on, Zap. So this could be the $1 Million Quartet.
Is that a prank or what? Was that?
Yes, of course. Having Fun with Elvis on Stage was released, I think, in 1974. And Elvis' manager was very clever into getting marketing. So what he did is they taped concerts and only used the spoken parts and put that when Elvis was making jokes. Yes, and Johnny Cash. Thank you, Terry. So, and so then they released the album Having Fun with Elvis on Stage, which is a spoken album only, where you have snippets of concerts where he's doing jokes. So yes, that's a prank. It's a horrible album, but that must be the, yeah.
I think I need that
one. It's sold like crazy.
I'm starting my Elvis collection with that one.
Yes, go ahead. Thank you, Zap. Thank you so much for ruining it. To getting somebody into Elvis.
My favorite Elvis record.
Having Fun with Elvis on Stage, yeah.
All right. Did you want to say anything more to that Elvis record, or was it sorry?
Yeah,
sorry.
Before Michael left so hilariously, and I don't.
No, I didn't.
No. So it wasn't an official release. It was recorded from the soundboard, so the quality is not overall too good, but it's a fantastic concert by Elvis, and digitally remastered. So but awesome show. Boston Gardens, where also James Brown had a legendary show.
Came out this month, or you bought it this month?
I got it this month. It actually came out a couple of months ago.
Okay.
But getting bootlegs nowadays isn't so.
Yeah.
So needed to make some calls. So another one is I'm getting into the label Soul for Real, and they are they're releasing unreleased material for the first time on vinyl, and they brought out a compilation album, and some of these releases you can buy them for 15 euros, and they're on Discogs for over 100 now. So for real, they make awesome products.
So those are reissues, if I understood that correctly.
Yes, they have mainly they have 45s. And they are finding tracks which weren't released back then out of certain reasons. Record was full, or contract issues, and they're finding them and putting them on vinyl as a single. And sometimes they're doing albums.
Here's a recommendation from Rawhead Jim for you, Nadine. If you hasn't seen Noble Records on YouTube, she needs to. He knows almost everything, lots of funk and soul expertise.
Yeah, I know him, but he has some great records. If you have a closer look at his Holy Moly wall, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, also the records he puts into his own collection are quite stunning sometimes.
Yeah. The Moon Fraction was unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna just put 2 records because I guess it's 2 more run throughs. So this one, I'll call this one now the discoveries for me this month. So I picked this in a record store out of a hunch. I just thought it was interesting, and it wasn't that expensive. And this is basically a singer from Mali who I guess lived in Paris at that time. He brought out 3 albums in late 70s, and this was one of them. And it has kind of an Afrobeat kind of a style to it, and it's really nice. I've heard it already 3-4 times, and I'm totally digging it. And so this is one of my discoveries for this month. And another one, I don't know how I came to this one, but I think, Michael, you're going to like the cover.
Of course I do.
Right? So this is from 1980.
Yeah.
And these are 2 percussionists, musicians, you could say. It's improvised music. It's it has definitely it's out there. It's maybe free jazz, maybe avant-garde, but it's just beautiful. It's really, really great. And and so what is the name again? It's Leighton and Lovins. Leighton and Lovins.
So it's right up your alley, right? You as a drummer at heart, at least, this is your stuff then, right?
Yeah, but there's very little like constant rhythm going on. It's a lot of very much expressionist music. It's a lot of soundscapes, a lot of just basically like listening to a journey in a way. So there's not much groove going on, but it's if you open yourself up and just give it a listen, I really love it. It's fantastic and very unknown record, recorded in Germany. I think one of them is a German drummer percussionist, and the other is from the UK.
Nice.
And so that was a really great discovery.
Was a blind buy, or you listened to it and said, "Oh, I need to get the record"?
I stumbled upon it. The cover I thought was interesting. Started listening to some of the stuff online, and liked it right away. Bought it, and hearing it on vinyl, it's much, of course, a much greater experience for sure. Yeah.
Are they always hiding their faces like Daft Punk, or is this just a one-time thing?
I don't know. They only made this one album together. It's there's very few out there. I think it'd be much more expensive if there were more people who knew about it. It's quite like under the radar kind of thing, I think. So those were my 2 discoveries for June that really kind of got me.
being reissued by Riding Easy Records. They just announced.
Yeah, I saw the one of the reissues at Günther's, and I was for a short moment afraid it might be could be an original. So getting an original, I think it's now the 7,000 or 8,000 euro record. So if you find it.
Wow.
Yeah.
But Nadine, are you also into the 45s? Because I think the 45 singles in soul is like mental, like really expensive stuff. Or is that correct?
I have some singles, but I'm not getting into that. There are always people saying you need to get into that. There are fantastic songs on it, and I do believe that I heard some stuff. They only recorded one songs or two songs, and it's fantastic. But when I was in the UK, where this Northern Soul stuff is, hometown, there was a wall where the single started at £1,000.
Crazy.
There was cheap stuff,
Crazy.
and so I'm not. There's no way I'm getting into it.
You kind of want to keep yourself away from it, because if you get into it,
yes,
it's
absolutely.
Like, I mean,
yeah. And there's so little I still don't know about the music from the 70s. There's so many records which have been released during that time, which I still want to get into. So I can't do everything.
Probably a lot that only went through the DJ's hands, right? I can imagine that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is not the last round, right? We have another one. I have two and you have one, right? Is that correct?
Okay. Correct.
Then I go into a reissue, a really beautiful reissue. I haven't listened to it yet because it came yesterday, but there was quite a fuss about it in the OBC Discord, and so I couldn't wait for it. Now I have it. I haven't listened to it, but I unpacked it, and it's a beauty. Third Man Records, the Vault edition of this Miles Davis live at Fillmore East in this trifold jacket. It comes with a 7-inch on black vinyl. I have to put this on now on my t-shirt.
That's cool.
Comes with a certificate and all this very important stuff, so that you don't lose it, otherwise your edition is worthless. But they did a very nice job, in my opinion, on the vinyl. I can't say I have heard only good things about the sound of it, but they also did it quite beautiful. Look at
wow, that looks stunning.
Yeah, look at the difficult. Now you can't see the etching, but yeah, that's beautiful.
Is that one side nothing on it? Is the last one?
Exactly. The last one has a beautiful etching, but you can't get it through the camera.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm quite fond of, and I can't wait to listen to it. I've seen he did a live take on Bitches Brew. And let's see.
Now I heard that they're working together with Blue Note to bring out a new series.
Yeah, I've heard about that too.
We need. There's not enough reissue series out there in jazz,
especially Blue Note. We really need more.
But I do think it's interesting, because I think it's going to be a different take at it. There's some records there also more from the 70s. I think some records that just wouldn't fit in Tone Poets and in classic series. Plus they can.
So now we have found a spot where we also can squeeze the stuff in, where we can.
Michael, I'm not buying all the reissues. I go more for the OGs, and then selective here and there I buy some of the reissues. But for people that just get into it and they don't know where to look, where to find, it's great that it's there. More good music, more analog music. Come on, Plus,
but all of a sudden, all at the same time.
Yeah. But I think a lot of these decisions were made a year or two ago, when the rush was big, and
Default-themed Blue Note releases. Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, and then a lot of labels were looking. Okay, so what do we have in our catalog? And these kind of steps, they take a year or two to actually implement them. So maybe there's a lot at the same time. But once it settles down, I think it's fine overall.
It's fine overall. I totally agree. Don't get me wrong, Angel. Thanks for putting the thumb on it. It's just, when 3 years ago, when they announced a new series, I couldn't sleep for 3 nights. I was so excited. And
But
now,
that's because,
another
but that's
Bruno.
because you like to collect the whole series, but we're getting to a point now where I think if you're a veteran collector, you don't collect every series that goes out. You take the 1 or 2 titles that you like, and you stick to certain series or old OG series that you try to complete.
Agree. Totally agree. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
And now comes the dilemma for every soul and disco lover. We hardly get any reissues.
Yeah.
Vinyl me, please, Nadine. Vinyl me.
Yes, I even got into their Discord, and I even got into the section "Wish Me Please," and I had 4 or 5 suggestions. I could make a ton. So this is a shame, really. There's so many.
What I don't understand now that we're talking about, now they're doing a new rock series. Why don't they do a soul and disco series? They should, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It's so easy. Do a soul, do a gospel soul disco series.
Yes, that would be so. Or a box set, a soul box set. There are so many great soul records.
It's a one-time event. Do it every month, one record.
Michael, it's actually soul, funk, disco, gospel. There's actually 4 genres they can kind of pack together in a way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I can imagine they will do this, Nadine. They are quite successful. I can imagine this will come.
And actually, in soul and funk, like I have, that Vinyl Me Please, Nadine, you probably have it from the Meters.
Mm-hmm.
It comes in the yellow vinyl, and I have the OG and I have the Vinyl Me Please. And in that case, to my opinion, the Vinyl Me Please sounds better, because I feel that's often in funk and soul, they sometimes they just produced it so quick, they didn't necessarily have the means or didn't take the same precautions. But I think at least in disco and funk, there's probably some more gain to be made between originals and some of the reissues if they have good people.
I totally agree. I have the Barbara Haywood record I'm showing many times from Vinyl Me Please. They didn't have the master tapes. They needed to do needle drop from near mint copy, and I'm luckily have the original and the Vinyl Me Please, and the needle drop from Vinyl Me Please sounds way better than the original. The original was not done properly in the studio on poor vinyl, was a private press. The vinyl has pressing issues, and what Vinyl Me Please did was just fantastic. So in many cases they sound better.
Yeah, jazz sometimes you have on the classic series, Sean. They do quite some jazz. They do. Nadine.
Yes, this is the final round, exactly.
Exactly.
I found a great.
But I knew it the whole time, $5 records, and now you're gonna go like bam.
But let's start with something which is actually also a grail. This is the Marvelettes' second press of Playboy. This is a very rare record to find, and it's still in the shrink.
Jawohl.
Still have this one.
It's the jacket, the cover art is amazing.
Yeah, and this is early 60s.
Amazing. Wow.
So
amazing. Wow.
Yeah, and I had to have it. It's near mint. It's absolutely near mint. The vinyl has just one issue. There's a tiny. Can you see that tiny on the outer run groove?
Yeah.
This is the outer run groove. This is what is this?
Like a ditch or something. What is that?
Yeah. So that's a ditch, and the rest is absolutely. It's a near mint. So I had to have it because the guy who had it said I have it forever in my collection. But for me, it's not a super great record because it has this tiny little ditch. That's all. It's not even on a groove where it's playing. So and it's
it's still it's flat. It's not like it's
absolute. It's not warped. It's not. Right. And so this is difficult to find record. All right. So many of you know Günther. Günther is not having any soul records. So when I was in his store, I found this. Maceo and all the King's Men doing their own thing. So Maceo Parker was the saxophone player on James Brown, and he did Mother Popcorn. And James Brown is very often shouting out to Maceo, "Blow your horn," and stuff like that. And by the early 70s, Maceo Parker and some members of the group from James Brown, they had financial issues because James Brown was not known for paying very well. So what they did is they left James Brown and did that's why they say the King's Man, because James Brown's label was King. So and they did this album, and James Brown was so pissed off by this that he paid record stations not to play any of this music.
Really?
Nothing. So this album, even in the United States, is absolutely impossible to find. This is a very difficult to find record. It's a soul funk record. And when they left, James Brown got up some new musicians, and some of them was Bootsy Collins.
Okay.
And were then staying for a couple of months. But this is an absolutely, and he had it there in like near mint condition.
Of course, in near mint. What do you expect?
Of course, in near mint.
Luckily, Günther didn't obey to James Brown and had the record.
Yeah. So that's an absolutely great record. Very difficult to find from the guy who's not having soul records.
Before you get into the next one, Nadine, here's a little recommendation from Liam. Maybe you know about the BB Sounds every Friday disco night.
No, but Liam, can you send me the link to that and I'll check that out? I think your wife has great taste. She married, so she has great taste.
I don't know that if there are links to radio.
But I think they have the website to.
I was kidding.
All right, so now the Gray record. Looking for it for many, many years, and you only could get this record when you were vacationing in the Bermudas in 1981. Because this group was appearing in hotels. And they were very famously at the Bermudas. And in 1981, they had the opportunity to record an album. And they thought that it might be their big breakthrough. But if you have only distribution in Bermudas and selling the records while you're doing concerts, it's not very likely that you really make it. Or you're lucky and hope that some record producer is bringing your record to the United States. But anyway, I'm talking about Paradise Sizzling Hot.
Okay.
If you like.
Sorry.
This is finally please calling when they're starting the soul section. Tell them I'm available. I help them.
I don't think so, because I don't think that my son works for Vinyl Me Please now, but go on.
Sizzling Hot from Paradise. And can you see that?
Of course. The sign.
Yeah. And the thing is, there are many signed words. If you find the record, they are signed because they were pre-signed for them because you could buy them after the shows.
Yeah.
And this is such a great disco record, and it's unbelievably rare, difficult to find, and I was so happy to finally have it. So that was my absolute grail for this one. At least 3 grails, and that was tough.
I saw your video on that one, Nadine. That was very interesting, I found. And yeah, anybody who doesn't subscribe to Nadine's page yet, channel, go check her videos. They're amazing.
It's his own fault, right? It's his own fault who has.
Yeah, but thank you. This is absolutely checking out.
So cool. In the end, Nadine, you came with 3 like bam, 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 bam.
Yes.
Well, I have a few labels that I'm trying to complete. In this case, these are 2 that didn't release that many titles. So this month I was able to add to these 2. The one I'm talking about is Incas. So Incas was a label in the UK, very much focused on free improvisational music, and some people like Steve Lacy were on it, Derek Bailey, and I just feel drawn to them because it was very consequential. There was very much a vision, and from the first to the last release, you know what you're getting, and even on the artwork. So this one I'm adding. I'm about halfway through. They have like 35, 40 titles, something like that, that they brought out in vinyl in the 70s, and I hope to complete them sooner or later. So this was one.
Beautiful.
Pretty out there, but really great condition as well. So that's
which year, Angelo? Did you mention which year that was?
let me see if I can see here. I didn't have it. 77. This one's from 77. Yeah.
Oh, and still the cover looks great. There's no discoloration or anything. That's great.
This one's mint, and definitely. And then the other label that I also try to complete, I'm trying to complete, it might be a little bit more difficult because there's a few of them that are very expensive, is Nimbus Supercuts. So Nimbus Supercut was a reissue label in the UK by Hi-Fi magazine. They for about 3 years, between 83 and 85, something like that, they released, I think it was 32 records, and these were basically audiophile, you would say, maybe remastered versions of records that previously existed. And this is the one I just added. I'm now at 18 from their 32. But it's going to get difficult. Some of them are very cheap, and some of them, a few of them, like the Sgt. Pepper from Beatles.
I would say the Sgt. Pepper's is a heavy one, right?
The last one,
5 to 10,000 euro.
The last one sold for 5,000. I almost bought one last year for 3,000, but I thought it was too much, and I'm probably never going to get that one. That's probably going to be the case. Who knows? But anyway, I have the other one that is...
Angelo, pull out a Christmas record.
What? I've done that already. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this collection. And so to finish off, a few weeks ago, I was watching Stunty's stream on Friday again. And
by the way, don't forget, we have Stunty tonight.
Tonight, for sure. And I'm actually not on stage tonight, so I'll have time. Anyway, and he showed a few killer records, and one was this one that I didn't know of. So this is this is really amazing. I don't know enough about these artists to talk about too much, but it has an amazing mixture of this very quiet and beautiful piano playing, beautiful singing, and then you have someone banging away on this huge steel propeller and stuff like that. So it's very out there, but beautiful record. And there's only like 200 of them, I guess, and this is great condition. And
another record you got an hour before I could grab it, by the way.
That's very good. It was only one that had the signature of both of them still in it. I think all the other ones that were available don't have it. So yeah, there you go.
Where
Michael.
Did you get it, Angelo?
I got it from Minty Vinyl. This was actually, I got that one and the Mal Waldron at the same time, but this was the one that got me there, and while I was at it. Yeah, there you go.
Is that available on streaming? So to get an impression, especially when they said Kölner Kunstverein or Kölnische Kunstverein, so I'm really eager to.
I think you can get it. You can hear it on YouTube.
Oh, perfect.
But it is very much a sound experience from what I feel, and I don't think you're going to get. You might be able to just get a feel for it, but hearing it on your system on vinyl, I think is the way to go with it. Of course, yeah.
What year was it released?
Let me just see again. I think I wrote it down here. 1979, and it
Wow.
was yeah, like I said, a very small pressing, but Stunty would be the person to ask about it. He would know much more about those artists and all of that.
We played a little of it.
He played a bit of it, and I don't know. It's people would think it's crazy, but I usually, if I'm in a record store, if I do listen to a record before I buy it, I never listen to more than a minute or half a minute. Like if the very first 10, 20, 30 seconds like really just grabs me, I'm like, stop right away. And I know I have a gut feeling I need this, and then I want to experience it at home. So in Stunty's case, even though he's talking, even though you only hear it in the background sometimes, if something's going on there that really just grabs me right away, I'm gonna get it. You know,
200 copies.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Okay, so I have to do a little mixed bag now. Let's say grails. Let's call them grails. Why not? I bought them for myself, for my collection, on a Savoy label. I have a beautiful original, the Bill Dixon Archie Chap Quartet. Oh, sorry.
Wow. Michael, make yourself big.
Okay. So this is on the freer side of the jazz life, but hey, I love it.
How's the label look? Is it a later label? Oh, it's still that one. Great, nice.
And you know this photo on the jacket, which is glued on. It's just a piece of paper on. It's amazing. I so love it, and the music really, American first pressing, and the music mirrors this picture, and quite an amazing record, and something completely different. This is this misprint of Radiohead bands. Yeah, I finally bought it. 90s vinyl, you know, not on the very cheap side, but hey, now I have it.
So the misprint is what shows you what proves that it was the first batch that went out.
Yeah, I should have. Here's something missing, I think, and then they recognized that, and they immediately stopped the press. So there are only a very, very few copies out there, and
but then the stampers are the same.
It's the same. They are the same.
Jackets were redone, and
exactly. So this is purely a collector's item. Oh. And then I got because I think that was on when I was at the Canadian what's his name? Oh, God damn it! The Audiophile Roundtable.
Steve Westman.
Steve Westman. Thank you. When I was at his stream, he did a lot of talking about this new Rhino series.
Oh, so you finally gave in, huh?
I gave in. I got them middle of the week. This one got an ugly dent, but now I get them. Now I will listen to them when I find the time. Yeah, let's see. Nice gatefold jackets. We'll see.
Who's the master in that series now?
Kevin Gray, which of course is a beautiful thing, did the mastering. They are limited to 5,000 copies.
Okay.
Yeah, we just see. This is of course a great album.
And is the whole series gonna be all AAA, or are they gonna make different?
I think they do not announce the next 10 titles. They are very secretive about them, as I have learned by now. Okay. So let's see what they. But of course, I think it's a good thing when they do. For example, I give you an example. This one is relatively exciting. This one, for me, is not so exciting because we have a good availability on this title.
There's a lot of different versions of it.
But when they go this road and put out rock, maybe even hard rock or metal,
totally.
So go this road.
There should be more of that, because there's so much rubbish reissues from
exactly.
pop rock.
Exactly.
It's going to kill a lot of the people that are getting into it. If they can get really great source and for 30-40 bucks in that area, fantastic.
And to be quite frank, we need an alternative to those Abbey Road half-speed masters. We need alternative. And if they go this road, be my guest, then I'm all for it.
Super.
Let's hope for the best.
Yeah.
So that was June. I will say I want more records in July. June was a bit slow.
No. I didn't show all my records. There was too much.
Yeah.
Me neither. Yeah, but come on, it's beautiful. Come, let's be happy. Let's enjoy them. Let's keep on doing these videos.
Michael, I think in the beginning of these videos, you should always put, like, you know, when you have warning for cigarettes,
A disclaimer.
you should have warning. You might want to buy records after this.
But with a picture, right? With a picture of it.
What exactly? Dying. The most horrific ways of dying through vinyl.
Someone who sits
in credit card.
Pays bills anymore.
One of these Kallax falls on you, you die. You know.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching. Everybody who watches Dante's stream is always waiting on the moment that his
shelves collapse. Oh, this will be one of the most exciting things in July. Actually, will be an exciting moment, a month. I will get a new shelf on Tuesday next week, which is exciting and really needed to get my structure back, and then I will get a new turntable.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I do hope you treat your other turntables still with respect and care.
Of course I do. Of course I do. Okay, so then Angelo, dann wünschen wir dir Hals- und Beinbruch. We wish you all the best for the upcoming open air concerts.
You should wish the people that come to my shows the best, because they're the ones going through a very risky situation.
Yeah, weather, when it comes to the weather, right? But as for you, I'm very lucky. Nadine, what's your most looked for event when it comes to July? I have an idea.
Yeah, I might get a new turntable.
Have you guys spoken about this? Because you're kind of like making hints.
No.
Okay.
No.
Then I'm not. No. Have I said too much now, or what's?
Oh no, I don't know what you mean.
Okay.
I have no idea.
I also not. So I needed an upgrade. So might as well.
But Angela, you are into mono right now. True? We talked about it.
Michael, after you're talking about your fucking record player that you're getting that is worth, I don't know, I did a great, amazing thing. I can switch now between the Audiophile Black.
I make you big. You have to put that into the video. This is one of the beautiful events that happened to you in June. So you're now into mono.
Yes. And basically,
and again, sorry to interrupt you. And again, you don't need to stand up.
Look, I can just do this here. And they both weigh the exact same weight.
Cool.
And there you go.
Oh, that's fast.
That goes really fast.
Yes.
And the thing is, I still have a setup that my kids can use, people that visit me can use. If I ever want to get the most out of my speakers and my amps, then definitely this wouldn't be at the same level. But it is, when I'm doing my office work and I'm just doing records back and forth and kids going at it, this is now, and these sound fantastic. The Audiophile Black is fantastic, really great. And this mono Audiophile is also fantastic. So I'm really happy. You see in the back, that one, the In and Out, Henderson, that's an OG mono, and it's very, very clean. It's basically near mint, the record itself. And listening to it with the mono cartridge, it is mind-blowing. It's
cool.
Fucking incredible.
Really so incredible. A difference without a doubt.
Huge difference.
And nobody has to blindfold you or tie you to a chair. It's immediately there, right?
It's a difference, and there's a debate about newer monos not needing it so much because the grooves are a bit more similar, but the pattern is different. The pattern on the stereo that is cut and the pattern on a mono is different, and so therefore, if you have a mono cartridge, you have the pure mono experience. Whereas with the stereo cartridge, you're getting some phasing and some not so ideal. Even if you push the mono button. So, but
you think the phasing is the biggest issue?
It's not something you would hear like. It's not what you hear. It's the lack of what you hear. So what I can say is using the mono cartridge on a mono, even a newer mono, it just brings the signal straight to you. It shows how incredible mono can be. I'm going to make a record one day that I'm going to release just as mono because it's so amazing, really. And if you're doing that on a stereo cartridge, even pressing the mono button, you have the mono sound, the mono panning, but it doesn't strike forward to you as much because there's phasing means it's making the signal less direct and less tranquil.
Okay. I think your dog is calling you. He needs to go for a pee.
Your dog, Michael. What?
Is it your dog or is it Nadine's dog?
There's the neighbor's dog, but my dog is answering them. The neighbor's, but my dog is answering them. Okay. I can hear her very clearly.
Okay, thank you so much.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much.
Nadine, I have a lot of soul and funk records I have to check out now because of you.
That's awesome. And now I have to check out some records you showed.
Next month, I hope.